for me. Oh, I did that wrong, but that's okay. We'll start the recording there, and then I'll also do the live stream. So let's just begin that as well, very similar to the recording. Okay. Great. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm sorry again, I really looks like I've been crying and I haven't been. So, okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. So we're all streaming. We're all good. Let's go ahead and get started. So again, to all who are here, thank you and welcome. My name is Leah Precious Thunder Warrior. Been doing this work. My name comes from my Mayan teacher who I worked with for a number of years. And I've been doing this work myself for about 15 years. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity to share with you today. The spring equinox in of itself is such a powerful moment that it is known among so many communities, it is celebrated under so many communities, and it's such an ancient tradition. Why? In a way, because it is literally the tradition of renewal and something new coming in. And so that's why we think of eggs, we think of, flowers, we think of springtime, we think of all these wonderful energies coming in. And so I'm just going to kind of describe a little bit of each and everything that kind of works through this energy. So one of the things that I'm really excited to pull from is Nowruz. So I'm going to start there because that might be something that we're not as all familiar with here, but this is actually, Nowruz is a festival of Iran and is the Persian New Year, but it's also the spring equinox and it falls today. And what I like about Nowruz and what I think is interesting about it is that it's this very, very old tradition of, among many things, jumping over a fire, giving our energy to the fire, leaving out basically 7 different offerings for the spirits and for the sort of nature beings. And it works with a lot of the energy that I think the people of ancient Babylon did. I like to see it in a way as a kind of modern celebration of what my ancestors might have celebrated years and years ago. And the spring equinox was, in fact, often celebrated in Babylon, and it had a great and deep relation to the goddess Ishtar. Ishtar is here with us tonight. She's right here. And I have my many statues of her, but I thought this one would be appropriate, the water holder, as we're kind of watering our new seeds. And so Ishtar is in Babylon and in Sumerian and all of the sort of civilizations of the Fertile Crescent, is the goddess Venus. She's the goddess of love. She's the goddess, the warrior goddess, and she's also basically, she kind of holds that space of like passion and intensity, and she's also represented by the lion. And so she has this kind of like Sekhmet or Shakti, if you work with Indian traditions. She's kind of this like very fierce lioness goddess, and so she's very strongly associated with the equinox, and we'll be working with her strongly today because her story, one of her stories, is actually very similar to the story of Persephone and Hades, who we will talk about in a bit. But if you are or are not familiar, of course, the story of Persephone is one in which she goes down into the underworld during the winter months, and then she reemerges in the springtime. And what I love about this kind of Babylonian tale is it's really the same. And a lot of it, what ancient Greece, I pull from ancient Greece often because I grew up with it. It was my first kind of experience with pagan stories, mythology. As someone who is, brown in some ways, I like the idea of pagan brown people. But I also, have come into also understanding, like, I love kind of pagan, like Old Norse peoples. I feel like we all have these kind of kings and queens that many people have worshipped. I mean, I am not, I don't have ancestry in West Africa or anywhere like that, but even the Yoruba peoples are working with, the Orishas, right? And there are these kings and queens of the elements and the way that the natural order works. And I find that all very exciting. And Babylon is some of the first written records, at least, of beings like this. And so Ishtar is in some ways the heart, the first goddess that's associated with the spring equinox that we've written down. And I can't pretend that means that she was the first ever, because that's not true, but she was the first that we decided to record about. And her story is more or less that she goes down into the underworld to basically visit her sister, and her sister Arishkigal, instead of kind of welcoming her, putting some drinks out, putting out a festival, putting out a celebration, is actually upset and is kind of not really a good friend, and has decided that she's going to kind of kidnap her sister and cause trouble for her sister. So she's actually going to kidnap her, keep her down there imprisoned in the realm of the dead, which, considering that Ishtar was also a fertility being, kind of like Persephone, associated with the growing of the crops, as well as the love and the birth, the fertility of love and rebirth. This was a major problem for humanity. And so when we work with Ishtar, or when Ishtar goes down there into the underworld to see her sister, she is imprisoned. And the only way that she's able to have any sense of being free, being liberated, is that she is told she has to trade someone in her stead. And so who does she trade? She sends people up to the surface to look for her. And she notices that her husband, Dumuzi, has not been feeling that sad that she's been gone, and has been partying it up and kind of being like a general layabout, kind of not really going, where's my wife? When she's like in dire crisis. And so Ishtar says, oh yeah, get him. Just get him and bring him, and we're switching with him. So the story of the original kind of equinox and moving and changing of the seasons is that Ishtar's husband, who is an earth deity, Dumuzi, he's a shepherd deity, he goes down into the earth and he takes her place in the underworld. And Ishtar is the one who gets to live above the ground. At this time, can you please ask your questions in the chat, because this is a recording. I don't want to put any voices on the recording, if that's okay. So yeah, but you're welcome to ask any questions and I'll respond as soon as I'm able to. So that's one of the stories that we'll be working with today, the deities that we'll be calling in. And the other deities will be the famous Persephone and Hades, because she's returning to us. Persephone, of course, is the goddess of spring and is the goddess of rebirth, and is, damn. All right, let's get that guy out of here. I'm very sorry for that disturbance. Looks like we can't lose those folks all the time, but he's been banned. So thank you to my production director for that. Please don't click that Zoom link, whatever that person put. I'm sorry that that was in there, but at least I didn't call on him, so I'm happy for that. Anyway, so Persephone's work was, she was the goddess of spring, and she was one who, she was stolen. A lot of the sort of narrative around endings and wintertime and death is that the life and the joy is stolen from us, but that then we are able to reclaim it. And so Persephone, she's coming back to us. And we are actually today in our second meditation going to be inviting her to come with us and to work with us basically through these summer months, these spring and summer months, to grow and to be reborn and to change ourselves for joy. So these are going to be exceptional moments, I think, in which we will be working with the deities who are themselves kind of doing some pretty heavy work, some heavy lifting, some heavy traveling. And at the same time, as we are aiding them in this process, we are also going to be allowing for ourselves through the winter months our experiences through the winter months, I should say, to finally come to a close and to allow for endings of wintertime to just be behind us. So that instead we can, like these new flowers and rains of spring, be nourished and become something new, become something whole. Because a lot of springtime is about working with the rebirth and also this kind of egg energy. Ostara, of course, is a Wiccan holiday for those who might be Wiccans here. Also happy Ostara, which is today. And it is another kind of ancient custom of working with rabbit energy, working with egg energy, and kind of sharing in, festivities and candy and, good energy. This is like Easter, right? It's literally the Easter springtime ritual of our pagan European grandmothers and grandfathers, for those who share that lineage. And so with all of this, we are welcoming in kind of being born again. And we are welcoming a chance for ourselves to become someone new. So I find that to be very exciting, very uplifting. And again, I'm very grateful to those who, yes, hey, awesome, happy to have the Wiccans who are here, awesome. So with that, I feel like we have a good sense of everything that we're working with. We're working with kind of the fire energy of Nowruz. We're working with the many kind of, perhaps you could say, chthonic beings that are associated with this time. And we're also working with welcoming rebirth into ourselves. Now I feel like I have definitely talked enough, so let's go ahead and get started with the music. As I've said before, what we'll do is 2 meditations. The first will be a healing for the self, a healing with the energy of the spring equinox. And then if you would like to work with these deities, with Ishtar, with Dumuzi, with Persephone, and go through this travel of both aiding the deities as well as being aided yourself, I ask that you stay until the end. And at the second meditation, that is when we will do that kind of spiritual ceremony process of together going into the travels of the equinox. Thank you. Okay. So just take a minute and I will get us started shortly. And hello to the folks that might be on Facebook as well. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of this. All right, let's get started. Okay. Excuse me. Let's take some time now for the self and begin with a kind of quieting. The winter is behind us, and so we hold it in our consciousness as the breath falls naturally into place. Let us now allow ourselves to sit with a little bit of rest in this moment, in this room, as well as on this earth and in this time. And now we will go into our mindful breathing. When I say 9, you will breathe in. When I say 9, you will breathe out. So that as we are harmonizing with the numerology and vibration of number 9, we are allowing all that has come before us to end and all thoughts to be quieted. Breathing in now, 9. And breathing out, 9. Breathing in, 9. And breathing out, 9. Breathing in, 9. Breathing out, 9. Now when I say 9, we'll just breathe in, and I'll continue to say 9 about 2 or 3 more times, and then we will continue. 9. 9. 9. 9. Final breath here, bringing in that breath all the way from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. Breathing in, 9. And one final release here, letting it all out, 9. Great work, everyone. We are together on this earth, surrounded by the energy of green life, sprouting beneath the full moon in Virgo, as we are blessed with the timely change of the beginning of spring, of the equinox, and our position among the stars. Let us feel that we too are planted on this earth between the ending of Pisces season and the beginning of Aries season. Pachamama earth beneath us, water and fire around us. Father Uranus, universe, sky, air above us. We are welcoming in now an ability to heal with the polarities that are reflecting through this spring equinox. Welcoming in the ability to begin again, in this earth and in this moment and within this body and within this soul. With these elements around us, we are blessed from our feet to our foreheads with the possibility of change. And this change is also returning to the self as our third eyes are beginning to open and expand. You may, if your eyes are closed, look up into your forehead as we are finding stasis and calm and peace with self, with mind. Welcoming into the mind the knowledge that we deserve happiness, that we deserve peace, that we deserve clarity through peace, and claiming it with compassion for the self. And with this opening now of the third eye, let us also do a check-in and a check-up on the self that has endured the winter months, relaxing and releasing the body now, letting the muscles drop and letting the earth instead rise to meet you as the air gently cradles your body space, so that you are held by this universe in which you have found your home. As your body is relaxing and opening to this mind awareness as well, of being a part of the peace of the earth. And through the movement of the changing of seasons into beautiful, perfect renewal. We're taking a moment to be with the self, the memory, rewinding the tape of the past winter months, of the time that's passed. And while doing so, retuning and returning your attention now fully back towards yourself. Taking back the energy from others, moving deeper with the dreams and the sleepiness of winter, letting go of the other people, releasing interactions with others, problematic or painful or uncomfortable feelings or perceptions that we may have accepted that were not ours to take on. Removing anything distracting us on our way to becoming our best spiritual selves. You're doing great. Wherever you are, your effort is what counts. Your desire to welcome in the releasing is what counts. Letting go of feelings of broken heart, feelings of unfairness. Instead, allowing for yourself deep understanding, not just of the emotions that we feel, but also understanding towards the self who has undergone this past winter time. And through this understanding, we feel again that earth beneath us, that sky above us, the water in our left hands and the fire in our right. Moving the meridians and the chakras of our body, moving the expressions of this feeling as they are burned and crescendoed and then emptied out of us. We now feel that we are sinking further into the earth as the stars above us place a halo on our heads. And in our left hand, we hold a whirlpool, and on our right, a fiery inferno. As we come to realize that holding these four elements is at the same time holding within us the makings of the world and the entire universe. Listening to the voices of the elements as they are now reweaving your body. And if you would like, you may even place your water hand or your fire hand on your heart or your stomach or anywhere in the body space to continue this rewriting of your code and of your energy. I'm going to hold my stomach for power and creation. And we are welcoming in, again, this energy of endings with the understanding that all of the experiences that we have rewired, retouched, reanalyzed, had a part to play in the interdimensional life that we lead. Now we are, in a way, record keepers of the reality that we experience. And so we are welcoming in with this understanding that we are reorganizing now our experiences so that we are able to create new records and new stories so that our collection remains ever growing and incomplete. And we are now putting these historic records of the past filed away in our internal spring cleaning, letting them be in our internal library in their own section so that we may focus on new archives and new wings of our mind, of our body, and of our spirit. And this newness can be called in now through the alchemical and elemental forces around us in this moment, through our feet, through our crowns, through our hands. Through this new archive, new organization, this retuning of our body and our inner alchemy, we are welcoming spring as we are preparing ourselves to move through the doorway of duality, the spring equinox, the time in which there are equal hours of night and daytime, in which there are an equal amount of beginnings to each and every ending. And so we welcome in the great balancing into our bodies, into our lives, of springtime beginnings and beauty. So that all that we held is coming perfectly into balance with all the joy needed to continue to create the world and the universe that we so desire. And we give love and appreciation to the self, beginning again, trying again. The fire in our right hand brings us our magic. The water in our left brings us our psychic energy. Stars from the sky are placed in our energy field. And birds and flowers surround us on the earth. As we become mirrored in the universe and the universe mirrored in us, fully balanced and existing just as this equinox, parallel to all that is without, reflected in our own alchemy and our own elements within, through the ability to change and the ability to create new spring. And we invite in Now, the knowledge, the activation, the mantra, I am body and I am soul. All that is all that makes me whole. I trust that I am made of the stuff of magic. I trust that I am made of the stuff of magic. And as we are allowing this knowledge and this trust of our own inner magic to hold for us, let us hold in our minds that we are blossoming, that our flowers are blooming again, that your flower and your heart flower are open to the beauty and changes of this very parallel, very equal, very balanced moment of the spring equinox and of the shifts in polarity that will allow us to make peace with positive and negative magnetic charge within our spirits and within our bodies. We are flowers at the atomic level, trusting in the magic that is within our very matter. All that is all that makes me whole. I trust my instincts. I trust my body. I trust that I am made of the stuff of magic. This concludes the first meditation. As the last event, I'm actually going to now play some intermission music. So the music is going to stop now. Just it might be a little jarring, but there we go. And I'm going to play, it's actually a Kurdish Nowruz song. I haven't seen the film, but it's by Hossein Ali Zadeh, and it's supposed to be an amazing Kurdish film. I myself might be part Kurdish. It's confusing, and I haven't taken an ancestry test. So I honor the Kurds and their struggles, and I play this beautiful song, which is literally about welcoming in the spring. We'll leave it at that. But thank you. So take whatever time you need to kind of get back into spiritual space now. I'm going to stop my audio share and let's begin with the second music, please. Thank you again all so much for being a part of this. And I look forward to sharing this upcoming ceremony of working with the deities, working with the powers of at least some ancient Equinox traditions. The music for the second meditation can start now. And now let us return. We will be working to move into the healing that is asked for in this liminal space. Taking a time to call out now to the spirits of this moment so that we may do the grand spiritual work set out for us, and so that we may fall in line with our master plan, and so that we may move deeply with the changes and spring renewal and abundance of this opportunity to be born and reborn again. I will now offer my prayers to these beings. I begin by calling in the 7 directions, the north, the place of the ancestors, the east, the place of new beginnings, the south, the place of our joy, our love, our passion, our fire, west, the place of the underworld and our endings, calling upon the below, earth beneath us, calling upon the above, sky above us, and calling upon the center in each and every one of our hearts in this council today. Calling in your guides, calling in your ancestors and their wellness to aid and assist you today. Calling in your animals, calling in your spirits, your guides, your deities, your team. I call in my beings, call in my protectors to assist us all today, calling in the light beings, the elves, the fairies, the gnomes, calling in Father Ninurta, Saturn, Capricorn energy, the warrior of the earth, the great hero and wielder of mighty Sharur, protector of the time tablets, and slayer of the Anzu bird. I call in now my beings, my grandfathers and grandmothers. I call in my animals, the lions, the leopards, the birds, and I call in now the deities of this moment who are here to support us. I begin with Persephone, Kor, the great maiden, wife of Hades, goddess of spring. I offer you my prayer. O Persephone, fairest spring maiden, we praise you. Where you tread, flowers grow and blossom. Where you are, all comes to life. Let your touch and your return make flowers bloom in our hearts. Let your touch and your return help us to grow so that we know that we can glow like the sunshine in spring. Lady Persephone, spring lady, to you we pray that you lend us the guidance to survive the storm and to lead us on the path. Hail Persephone, fairest spring maiden, queen of the light and the dark, the above and the below, the comfort to the sorrow and the joy of survival. We honor you and praise your might. Thank you, Great Mother Persephone, who we will call in from her underworld home today. I call in Mother Ishtar, heralded by her lions and owls, crowned in bull horns, her shoulders carrying armor with spikes and weapons, her long black hair flowing like the night. Great Mother Venus, with joy, with tears, we honor you as the passer between worlds, the queen mother that we almost lost to the underworld, the goddess who died and lived again. We pray to you as well. Sing of the goddess most inspiring of goddesses. Let the mistress of peoples be praised, the greatest of the gods. Sing of Ishtar. Who can equal her greatness? Powerful, exalted, and fabulous in her state, there is no equal to her greatness. She is the one whose standing is greatest among gods, the queen of heaven and the stars. Her command of love is honored and prevails over all. We welcome her as we give thanks to her. And finally, we call in the fathers of the equinox. Dumuzi, husband of Ishtar, great shepherd, great earth being, keeper of the farms and tender to the animals, as well as Hades, husband of Persephone, who is in his own way a difficult figure, but who allows us to pass through this polarity and spring equinox as we come to save his wife and return her. To all of these beings, we praise you as we are inheriting the old ways of being, and we are working through the many ancestors that have interpreted the divine and appreciated this earth. We are opening ourselves to the records of the ancients that live in our spiritual memory. And together, we join in celebration and awareness to this new equinox doorway. Ishtar comes to us now, and she places her hands on our shoulders, wearing her golden armor, her rod and her ring in hand. And she regards you with the intensity of the divine queen in her eyes. Through these eyes, regarding us, reflecting parallel consciousness, we see and share the great presence of God, of the great power of Venus, of the great power of love. She is sad-eyed as she is today, knowingly giving her husband back to her sister, returning to her time of isolation, so that the spring may come again. But through her sadness is the love that exists in the universe, the planetary, galactic, star people, and Anunnaki, and Igigi goddesses and gods, the love of the warriors who fight to live through it all. She invites us to be guided by her today and says, "Come with me." And so this great goddess now pulls us up out of this room so that we may fly between the worlds and into a new dimension. So that we may be dropped at our first destination. This place is an empty valley between mountains. No temple here, only the barren earth, as the earth is our temple today. We see a place where this healing earth is wet with the muds of the rainy seasons of Babylon, of the snows of the winter time, no growth anymore. And we see here that we are met by Demeter, Persephone's mother, who has made the earth wet with her tears, and who is so eager to have her daughter return to her. We acknowledge the earth and the barren forests who experience the winter seasons. And we acknowledge the life that was put on hold with Persephone's passing. We acknowledge the tragedy of her loss, as well as the tragedy of Dumuzi's loss to come. The shepherd of mankind comes to us now, and he too is sad, understanding that his time has come to a close. The carrier of the crook, who will return now below into the underworld, acting as our guide. Without him, the earth will bloom grasses and then go into dry mud of the fertile crescent plain. We are grateful for his rainy seasons, and we are grateful for the waters that have fed the dreams of our wintry hibernation. And so our stage is set. Ishtar, Dumuzi, and Demeter now are around us, laying out that our journey will include walking with our guide until we find Persephone. And we will together invite her back into the world of springtime. We take a moment to listen to any final messages from these beings, these goddesses of love, of fertility, of return, of rebirth, as well as this earth shepherd. And together now we build a bonfire honoring the spring equinox and the changing of the seasons. And Nowruz, Ostara, through festivity and celebration through this bonfire, we are welcoming in the scarlet energy of the sun, allowing for new creation. And in turn, allowing for an opening of our doorway of the spring equinox. Take time now to build this bonfire and to take it in. See its flames and feel its creative heat. And so this great doorway opens. Spiritual nighttime and wintertime, giving way to the power of the bonfire. And Dumuzi says goodbye to his wife Ishtar, who through their complicated relationship, nonetheless finds deep love for her. And he offers us his hand, the great shepherding king. And if we so choose to take it, we are invited to jump over and through the bonfire. Jumping through these flames, we chant, let your redness be mine and my paleness be yours, so that this fiery doorway purifies us as we move now into this portal and into the world of liminal space, seeing ahead of us the 7 gray gateways of the underworld, the shadows and the darkness that is the world beneath the world, the magic and healing of endings, and the beauty that is the place that holds our spiritual ancestors and earth beings and all those that came before us. And so now Dumuzi and Asinto regard these 7 gates and hand in hand choose now to fully move into this next liminal space, the center of the underworld, the place at the end of the 7 gates, the palace of the kings and queens, of the rulers of winter, the rulers of deep endings and deep changes, the place of Hades and the place of Ereshkigal. We pass through, when we are ready, the first gate, feeling activations in our root chakra, endings coming, dead roots being cut away, trust in our path restoring, reweaving. Together now, we move to pass through the 6th gate, our sacral chakra, having roots cut and trimmed, endings passing away, old cycles coming to a close, old wounds being pulled out. As we continue to move towards the center of the underworld, now moving through the 5th gateway, our stomach chakra, any unburnt coals of our fire within removed, any ashes that take away from our inner power are cleaned and removed. And we are allowing for all that removes our power, our sacred energy, our sacred magic, our sacred alchemy to be removed now through this gateway. And so we move through the fourth gateway, the gateway of the heart, allowing for all that holds boundaries that do not serve us anymore to be removed from the heart. To reinstate boundaries that need reinstating, and to remove all that blocks us of our love. We move now through the fifth gate of the throat, removing all from our communication that did not serve us, and removing all needs from our communication that harm us. The over-supporting words to those who do not deserve our presence. Moving now into the sixth gate, removing and releasing all blockages to our vision, to our truth, to our ability to see ourselves for who we truly are. All cords trimmed and removed, all branches cut away. And finally, the seventh gate of the crown chakra. We remove all those who would rather see us obey than see us at our highest and best selves. All energy cut away. Our connection to universe restored. As Dumuzi continues to ferry us now towards the palace of the keepers of the underworld. I mean, yes to everyone in the chat, absolutely. And as we are in this palace, we see before us Hades, carrier of staff and shadowed crown, friend to Kerberos, creator of the winter and the quiet death, a keeper of all which ends, as well as Queen Ereshkigal, lady of the great place, queen of the great below, wife to the bull of heaven and Nergal. She too is a mother and keeper of those who die in childbirth, as well as all spirits who find their final destination. And if you do not want to, you do not have to interact with them fully. You do not have to invite them into your space. But they are the representations of death. And so now we ask them, what needs changing in my life? What is it that I am meant to change? What interactions and interventions are needed for my change? And with Dumuzi at our side as our protector, we listen to these answers. If they do feel, if you and they feel that there is a safe connection for them to pull energy from you to be added to their realm, then by all means allow them to do spiritual work, cord cutting, anything that you need. But if you prefer to be cautious, then simply listen to their lessons. Our final question we asked them as well: what is the wisdom of my winter? And they will now in turn ask you a final question, as we are all now here, alchemists, healers, Reiki masters, priests. We are here to repurpose this knowledge, to use it in the land of the living. And their message to take back with you today is the following: how can you grow again? How can you become yourself more than ever before? And now a great mirror is placed in front of us, a mirror that is the opening to the new earth ahead. On one side stands Dumuzi, and on the other now joins us is Persephone, Kori, great maiden of the underworld. And this mirror is our doorway into the future, beyond this equinox. We are invited to see not just ourselves, but as we are living in the great polarity and balance of night and day, as we are two halves of one whole body, left spine, right spine, left brain, left arm, left leg, right arm, right leg. How can we see through this mirror? Future self whose pathway is golden ahead, whose bricks are made of the great rainbow road, of the Norse bridge to the world of the gods. Our path of fire, our path on the other side of the bonfire, our path to our future happiness and our new beginnings. And so Persephone now stands before this mirror, and we say our last goodbyes to Dumuzi. Persephone asks if she can take our hand so that together we may move into these new ways of growth, the new abundance of the summer to come, the heat and fire of the world without Dumuzi. Dumuzi gives us a final goodbye as he reminds us of the wisdom of the shepherd, that we are beings and whole animals in and of ourselves, that within our spine is the roadmap of the knowledge of so many beings and creatures that came before us, and that change is about healing the evolving mind, healing the creature that exists on this magnificent earth, healing the anxieties and the wisdoms of the past in order to be a lesson and experience receiver, just as we are vision receivers of the universe. Persephone now holds out her hand again, and we take it as blossoms extend between us. And so we invite each other to move into this new dimension and final dimension of the new beginnings and rebirthing of the equinox. And as you step through, you are placed in an egg painted in buds blossoming, made of rainbows. Traveling now through this mirror, upwards, up towards the sun, towards the spring. And as you are ascending, your energy grows more and more powerful, lighter, more star-like, more galactic, and more like the lightness of the flowers coming into new reality. As you are continuing to travel, you see now the sphere of light where the moon and the sun pass each other, almost like an eclipse in this moment of equinox. And you realize that you are coming up through a volcano, instead of with lava at your feet, coming up with great flower beds and butterflies erupting like the butterfly from a cocoon up and through this volcano, bringing in beautiful daylight, beautiful alchemical sparkles and rainbows that change the earth as it touches down, bringing in joy, success, love, abundance, fortune, angelic energy of sweetness and pure new beginnings. Blessing you and your egg as it flies through this new springtime, new earth created instead of by the lava, by the beauty of growth, welcoming in final activations, cleansings, purifications, so that your egg, when it is ready, may crack with the new life of you, the baby chick, the reborn one, the one who passed through the other world and returned, fresh, like a child again, flooded with colors of spring, with rainbow waters, with stars and halos, meteors, asteroids, everything reweaving you. As we come to the end of this second meditation, I will count down from 10. And when I reach 0, we will return. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good night to those who are watching on the live stream. Thank you. And I'll also stop the recording now.